Welcome back to this second video of 3 investigating the origin of the Pleiades. A special warm welcome to all new viewers. My name is Hugh Evans and I am author of Origin of the Zodiac. If you haven't already seen the first video on this series, you might like to watch it before this one. It's called Origin of the Origin and it explains where the Pleiades is located on the star maps of Gwyneth, which is the origin of the Zodiac we know today. In the third video of this series, we will be understanding how and why the ancient astronomers named the Pleiades and created the myths we know today about the star group. In this video, we will be understanding the proper motion of the Pleiades, because this is what the ancient astronomers saw. So please ring the bell. The third video will be along soon, explaining the names and myth. The nearest stars are the brightest, and it's natural that they are chosen to be the main parts of our constellations. But because they are closer, they appear to move over time compared to more distant stars. This is called proper motion. And it means that there was a time that the constellations we see today didn't exist, except the Pleiades, which has always been there. So here is a movie of how the plough will change over 200,000 years, and that is how it looks about now. And from this alone we can probably date the star maps of Gwyneth to being not older than 20,000 years, but perhaps containing concepts that are older. And this is the proper motion of the Pleiades against the fixed stars behind them, and this is generated from information from the European Space Agency Gaia satellite that measures all of the motions of the stars around us. And you can see the Pleiades moving down as a group, keeping quite close together, whilst quite a lot of the other stars are flying off in all directions. So our ancient astronomers noticed this. They monitored the movement of the Pleiades. They understood what was happening in the heavens above them, and they named the Pleiades to reflect that knowledge. So this is an exercise you can do at home. If you hold your thumb out at the end of your arm, and that's mine, so my thumb is 2 centimeters wide and my arm from my eye to my thumb is 85 centimeters. And from this we can calculate the circumference of the circle, that is the radius of my arm with my eye in the center. It's 534 centimeters is the circumference. And we can calculate the fraction that this 2 centimeters is of the entire circumference, and times by 360 degrees gives the angle that my thumb is 1.3 degrees. And that is the apparent width of the Pleiades in the night sky above us. So you can go out into a clear night sky and hold out your thumb to the Pleiades. It was shown in the last video, Origin of the Origin, as to where the Pleiades is located in the night sky above us. And you can measure the width of the Pleiades. And why is that important? Well, we have seen that the Pleiades appears to be moving as a group in one direction, downwards. But just as the sun appears to be passing above us during the day, but we know that we go around the sun, we are actually going around the Pleiades. It just appears to be moving. In fact, we are in a helical relationship with Sirius, and together we are rotating around the red giant star Arcturus, and Arcturus is going around the Pleiades. And we can now prove this to be correct from the satellite information we have on their movements. And the Pleiades moves around our galaxy, and that's the direction of the galactic center. So my question to you is, how many thumbs would you, if you were an ancient astronomer, need to see the Pleiades move across the heavens for you to be able, with your colleagues, to understand our movement around the Pleiades over a long period of time? If you were able to go out month after month and pass on your notes to whoever followed you on, how many thumbs would you have to see the Pleiades move before you understood its motion? So there is 1 thumb distance. There is 2 thumbs distance. So would you be able to work out the motion of our sun around the Pleiades by seeing the Pleiades move 2 thumbs distance? Well, I will tell you now that 1 thumb is 100,000 years and 2 thumbs is 200,000 years. We have only just in modern times been able to understand the relationship between the sun, Arcturus, the Pleiades. This image is taken from my book Origin of the Zodiac. It hasn't taken us in modern times 100,000 or 200,000 years, but it has taken us very powerful telescopes, computers and satellites to understand this proper motion. Our ancient astronomers also understood this proper motion, and they named the Pleiades to reflect that. So we go around, or we are in a relationship with Sirius that is 26,000 years, which is roughly 1 precessionary cycle. We go around Arcturus every 550,000 years, and together with Arcturus we go around the Pleiades once every 26 million years. So that's a close-up of the Pleiades, and that's the individual stars of the 7 sisters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is a diagram showing their movements, so that the arrow here, or the tail, shows the direction the star is moving, and the length of the tail shows how quickly it is moving, and they're all slightly different. So that's cleared up the image a little bit. So our ancient astronomers understood which one of these stars was at the center, about which the other stars were moving quicker. So let's take away the tail of Alcyone and take the same amount off each of these other stars. So what we have here is Alcyone is now stationary, and this represents the movement of the stars relative to Alcyone, and you can see that Atlas is going up, Pleione is going down, Taygeta is going up, Maya is going down. So I have coloured Atlas and Taygeta yellow. So that's what it looks like now. And if this carried on for 10,000 years, then the stars moving up would go further up and all the others would start going down. Alcyone's still in the middle. At 100,000 years, the stars going up are even further, and at 1,000,000 years they go even further. So after a long period of time, if this was their true motion, the star cluster would just collapse and fall apart and just become, it would just disappear. But that's not actually what happens. And the Pleiades has remained a star cluster for millions of years, maybe up to 1 billion years. And the only way that that can happen is if actually the other stars are going around Alcyone in the middle. And these movements are 10 to 100 times smaller than the movements of the entire cluster. But our ancient astronomers understood this motion, and they named the stars to reflect it. So that's just to give you a recap. We are going around with Sirius Arcturus. The group is going around the Pleiades, and the Pleiades is going around the galaxy. And within the centre of the Pleiades, they're all going around Alcyone. So in video 3, we'll be investigating the naming of the Pleiades and the common origin of myth, which is at least 50,000 years old. So I hope you join me on that video. I'd like to thank Gareth Samuel and his See the Pattern channel. There's a full video on explaining our motion around Arcturus and the Pleiades, which you might like to see. He does a much better job than I have done. Thank you, and see you next time.